Hello everyone, this is Eddie Reyes with Jurex Bar Prep, and today we are going to talk about personal jurisdiction. And of course, we are talking about civil procedure. And I'm going to make this super easy for you to understand. I am going to go over key terms and the placement of these key terms within the template, within the larger discussion of personal jurisdiction. Now, I do want to say that the key to this is to have a nice structure, a nice template. And I'm going to share my template with you. Here we go. So, by the way, many people make personal jurisdiction a complex topic. It's not. Again, it's the key here is to just, I'm looking at the cheat sheet template here, and the wording is small, but once you get the key concepts within this template, it's just so easy. You just everything just flows. And this one right has larger text, so I just transfer the text to this. This is a Google Doc. This is the platform here. I'm gonna just use this, but I'll have a link to the cheat sheet templates there at the bottom. Okay, so this is, oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna make this super easy for you to understand. And the key here also is to acknowledge that there's two versions of personal jurisdiction. I once heard someone say that, right, that general jurisdiction, or pennoyer, it's a done concept. Okay, I'm not even going to use pennoyer. All I'm going to say is that there's an antique version and a modern version. And do you use both? The answer is no, not always. If you could establish that the court has personal jurisdiction using the general jurisdiction analysis, you do not need to discuss specific jurisdiction. Now, if this sounds like a lot of blah blah, all these key terms, all these terms, right? I know that a lot of these terms get thrown around here and there, and so I am gonna talk about those terms. Okay, we are gonna index the terms. What does that mean? Index. We're gonna place them somewhere. And I do want you to have a solid foundation, solid placement for these terms. Okay. So let's begin with general jurisdiction with the antique version, right? And then we'll go to specific jurisdiction. Let's get started. So general jurisdiction is also known as traditional basis, traditional jurisdiction. And the key terms here, okay, are systematic and continuous. That one gets thrown around a lot. How do you analyze that? Okay, you run through this discussion. Consent, was the person served within the jurisdiction, or if the defendant is domiciled within the forum state. That's how you analyze systematic and continuous and general jurisdiction. Now notice how, right, these terms, they're like umbrella. They're like an umbrella version, and then within that umbrella you have all these like sub issues. Look at general jurisdiction. It has right below it systematic and continuous. Right below this are these elements. So run through these. Again, if you have a fact pattern, we can establish general jurisdiction. You do not need to go to specific jurisdiction, but we'll go into this now. And this also has different terms. For example, due process. For example, constitutional limitations, long arm statute jurisdiction, right? So I just say, hey, look, let's just call this specific jurisdiction. Let's go with that. Okay, so let's talk about the two issues here, the two main prongs, long arm statute, and where due process is met. Due process is going to be an umbrella kind of, right, format. It's going to have that umbrella format, okay, because you're going to have a lot of sub issues there. In fact patterns, long arm statute is usually not discussed. Right, it's not discussed in the hypothetical. You kind of have to assume it's there. If you're in state X, for example, if the fact pattern says, hey, we're in California, for example, then you just say, hey, California has a long arm statute. This element is met. Move on. Okay. So let's talk about due process. What does that mean? How do you analyze that? You analyze it. You use the term minimum contacts. Right, that's another umbrella type of term, because you have sub issues there, sub elements. How do you analyze minimum contacts? Okay, and some of you guys know this purposeful availment. right? Did the defendant purposely avail himself of the forum state? Foreseeability, and of course, where due process does not offend traditional notions of fair play and substantial justice. More typically, you see purposeful availment as a potential issue and foreseeability. You may sometimes find that this element has to be discussed, and there are some, this one itself has right terms sub elements. I'm not going to go into those because those are not commonly discussed, but they are here in the cheat sheet templates. Factors to consider. They're right there. Okay. But now what I want to do is I want to run through a fact pattern through an actual exam that was administered by the California State Bar. And this is, let's see, here it is here. I think this is from July 2016. I'll have if it's not July 2016, I'll make a note here at the bottom. Okay. But I like, this is from the model answer, and I like their structure, and that's why I'm displaying it here. Okay. So here you had one plaintiff, and that one plaintiff, let's look at the plaintiff here. Okay, there they are right there, and they are suing two defendants. I just go with defendant, and this individual came out. I don't know who it is. Someone from Michigan, and then the other party was a corporation that was located in Germany. Right, it's strange. It was a strange fact pattern. But let's go through that. Let's go and let's look at the answer. Now, this answer did receive 100 points, which, right, that's the highest you can get. Now, typically, I do not look at model answers for the analysis, and I'm not doing that here. But I do like how the issue spot. I do like at times their format, their structure. Like this is a great example. Okay, so let's see how they approach personal jurisdiction. Right, so they go into general jurisdiction for one party, the three traditional bases: consent, domiciled, properly served within the state. This is the defendant. You can assume that's a lady here, right? Now, how do I go back? Why did I even do that? All right, not a problem. So in this situation, the court could establish personal jurisdiction via general jurisdiction. So in that case, the person did not go to the specific jurisdiction analysis. A lot of people did, and they ran out of time. Okay. Now, for the company that's domiciled in Germany, the court could not establish personal jurisdiction through traditional, through the traditional basis, through general jurisdiction. So in that case, you were required to address a specific jurisdiction. That's what they did. They addressed the issues very quickly. We can't, okay. They say we can't, right? It can't establish through traditional basis. Fine. Move on to, they call it long arm statute and constitutional limitations. That is how they refer to specific jurisdiction. See all these terms get thrown around, so it does get confusing. That's why I just say, hey, look, let's just call it specific jurisdiction, right? That's one commonly known name, and let's just stick with that, okay? So then here they establish, again, minimum context, like the umbrella term, and the person did analyze the elements there, okay? So the common, once again, the common terms, the common elements under specific jurisdiction is foreseeability and purposeful availment. Key here is to have this format, is to have a template like this ready to go, because personal jurisdiction is a legal concept that is tested at high frequency. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, just send me a message, post your questions in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to respond. Best of luck to you. Until soon.